gosh, I don't think anybody knows how excited I am to finally have Bridget on. If you guys don't already know her from TikTok, you're about to find out everything about her. I've been obsessed with you for a while. I feel like I've been watching your content. You coming up with my free page.
Are you kidding me?
Definitely. Oh my gosh, yeah, at least a few months now. I feel like I've like seen you, been following you, and now we're finally connecting, and we're gonna be in person.
I know.
Soon, right? Are you coming here?
I'm so pumped.
So pumped. But yeah, we're gonna get all into it today. We're gonna find everything about Bridget. She is a superstar business coach, just insane, honestly. Your vibe, your mindset, your life, your story. I'm excited to get into it. So yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, well, that was an amazing introduction. Thank you. Because I'm over here like, I'm on a podcast with Kelsie. Like, as I see you on TikTok, and I just think you're amazing. But yeah, in 2020, like, I think that's when everyone was kind of like, it was such an awakening journey. I was like working this job. I managed a dance company in New York City. I was choreographing there, dancing, doing all this stuff, helping this other company build their business. We pivoted online. I helped them take their business online, and it was very successful. We made like the same amount of money there as we did when we were in person. And I was like, I think I could start working for myself. And I just got so fed up. I was just crying at work all the time. You know, I thought it was my dream job at one point in my life, and it was just awful. So I ended up building up a side hustle where I was selling supplements on the internet, on Instagram. For like multiple years I was doing this, but during, you know what, in 2020, I was like, we got to go in. Like, we got to get out of this job. So I made like an escape plan basically, and I worked my butt off. I was living in New York City, but I had taken the 2 weeks, what everyone thought was 2 weeks, to go to my parents' house. So I'm like in my childhood bedroom, have all these like post-it notes and vision board of like, you're going to host retreats and travel the world and be your own boss and pay off debt and make $5,000 a month. And I just worked so hard. And I hired a life coach. I think this is such an important piece of it. I hired a life coach because I was like, I want to quit my job by this date, September 1st. And she's like, okay. We worked on my mindset. She didn't teach me how, which I think is a really cool part of this. She was just like really motivating. And I ended up quitting by August 1st. And then I booked a 1-month trip to Costa Rica. I never returned. I sold everything I owned, and now have the business that I have today, where I live in Thailand, make way more than my salary ever, way more than my salary. And have built this business where I get to do what I love and wake up at 7 a.m. in Thailand and talk to you.
I'm obsessed. I'm so obsessed. Also, I totally forgot. I wanted to bring up too the dancer to entrepreneur pipeline. You've posted a video about it before, I know too, because I was a dancer. I know a lot of people in this space too were past dancers, and I think that's so cool. And I love that you've kind of incorporated that into your business now, where you like a lot of movement is a part of what you do and how you operate and how you inspire others. That I think there has to be something to that. It's not a coincidence.
There has to be, because I think like dancers, you're so resilient. I mean, whether it's like auditions for performances or gigs or whatever, it's like you're constantly being told no. You have to sell yourself all of the time, physically, mentally, based on your resume and what you've done or haven't done. Like, there's just so much grit and perseverance that's built through being a dancer, like actually going after the dance career, that I think, honestly, the reason I'm successful today is because of my dance background and going through all of that.
I totally agree. I can so see that as well. And I think I never put those two things together until later. But now looking back, I'm like, wow, I did, fail a lot of times. There was a lot of rejection. Obviously, any business owner has had those times where most people would quit or think, oh, this wasn't meant to be. But with that mindset that you've just always had, it's an automatic like, all right, that didn't work out. What's the next thing? Okay, what's the next thing? Let's figure it out. Let's keep going. Let's keep working.
Yeah.
So I love that. What was your biggest challenge, I guess, with that, getting from that more corporate, New York City to now Thailand business owner? Like, that's such a huge shift. What did you feel like was the biggest kind of roadblock maybe?
So I had just moved from the Upper East Side to Brooklyn in 2020 because I was like, okay, I want to get out of the city. I want like a little bit more nature. I thought Brooklyn would be more naturized. It's not. And so I had just quit my job in August, and about September hit. In October, I had the 1-month trip to Costa Rica, which was the huge catalyst for changing everything. And I remember one day I walked to Greenpoint Park in Brooklyn. It was like 2 p.m. on a Monday. And I had already quit my job, so I was working for myself. And I went and I sat in fetal position on the ground in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Like, I looked crazy. Like, I'm sure the park rangers were like, what is going on? Because it's midday, right? So everyone in New York is at working from home. No one was outside. And I was like, I just need air. And I could make my own schedule. So it felt so weird. I felt almost like I was doing something wrong because as I was walking through Brooklyn, everyone else was either in the office if they could go there or they were working from home. And I was like the only one in the streets of Brooklyn like, well, what do I want to do with my Monday? And I was so confused. And so I went and sat in fetal position in Greenpoint Park. And I remember, this is so embarrassing. I remember because I was in the city so much, I missed nature. And so I remember, can't believe I'm telling you this, lifting up my dress on my sleeve a little bit to get my arm as close to the grass and dirt as possible because I felt like I wanted to soak up Mother Nature. And like, I was like, just please tell me I'm okay. Like, I'm not weird for quitting my job and doing what everyone else is doing. And I remember calling my mom after that and she was like, you're not meant to do what everyone else is doing. Of course it's going to feel weird. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go get a coffee and go home. And then it was fine. But still, I vividly remember that moment of being like, not an outcast, but like, oh, I'm really starting to do things differently than what everyone else is doing, which has pros and cons.
It does. And of course, in the end, both of us, we do not regret. Like, clearly we've done what we're supposed to be doing. Like, this is where we're meant to be. Yeah. This is what we're supposed to do. This is the path. But there is so much discomfort in that. Think like the whole world operates in this certain way, and to be the one that isn't, it is uncomfortable. It's scary. There is unpleasant feelings to get to. You have to kind of have that breakthrough, I guess, and have the confidence and the resilience, as we were saying, to get to that point. So I totally feel you. And even, it's a journey for sure. Even I'm like 2.5 years in to this particular journey, and I still sometimes find myself when I'm hanging out with other people who do have more, I guess, traditional lives and pasts, it gets a little bit confusing too, where I'm like, oh, I don't know, I am an outcast. Is this, not that I think it's wrong, but it's just an uncomfortable feeling sometimes. You have to remind yourself the path that you're on and what was meant for you. And I feel like just watching your content, I feel like you're someone who's so just secure in who you are and what you're doing, and that shines through so much. So tell me about how did you find that, I want to call it confidence, but I feel like it's just this sureness and like fulfillment that you have in what you do. Did you feel like you had that right from the start, starting your business, or was it something that grew with you?
No, I was trash at content. Like, I used to have this mantra, basically, which is a terrible mantra. Like, I make content like a mom. Like, I would tell myself this. Like, I mean, and if you're a mom listening to this, that's not to say, like, you make bad content.
No hate, no hate.
Yeah, no hate. I have a lot of clients that are moms, and they crush it with content. But, like, for me, I was thinking about my mom on Instagram making content, and I used to tell myself that. And so I could never get the aesthetics down. I could never understand how to take real world conversations and package them into a little square on social media. And now I'm very good at doing that, and I help other people do it. But in the beginning, it just kind of blew my mind because I wasn't raised on social media, and I was actually very anti-social media before 2020. And that's my own stuff I had to work through, but I was really, really insecure. I remember my first coach, she was like, you need to go live. You need to go live on Instagram. And this is actually like 2019 when I was doing something else on the online space, and she's like, you need to go live. And I remember hiding in the corner of my Upper East Side apartment by the lamp, whispering with a turtleneck on, and I hit live, and I remember crouching down in the corner because I didn't want my roommates to hear me, that I was going live on Instagram and be embarrassed. And I remember my whole face went red. You can't really see it, but my neck is like blotchy because I'm freaking out and I have the turtleneck on. And so to think that I can go from that to where now I just say whatever I want to say on the internet and feel solid when I do it, that's really crazy.
I love that you said that. I think that so many people have that in their mind where they're just, oh, I'm not good at this, or that's scary, I'm not good at talking on live. That is like a really daunting thing for anybody. Like going live for the first time, oh my God, very scary. Content creation in general, it's basically like public speaking, and exactly what you said when you didn't want your roommates to hear you, on your Instagram and everyone from your high school's watching, and like it is a really scary thing to get over, but I think that's super inspiring that you can see where you are now and you're like, no, that was me, because so many people have that start and just assume that they're not good at it when everything comes with practice. Hello, now you're killing it.
Yeah, and then there were like so many times in the middle too of messing up, but just like continuing to take action. I really believe that you only learn in the field. Like you only learn how to become a better dancer by dancing. And it's the same thing with content creation. I saw someone, I don't remember whose TikTok it was, maybe you remember this, but someone said, so-and-so, how do you go viral? Like, tell us the secret. How do you know how to go viral? And he said something like, go post 1,000 TikToks, then come back to me. And I just love that advice because most people, when they ask questions, well, how? If they were in action and a lot of action, they would know the how.
100%. I totally agree with that. That's something I always say, like take messy action. Taking messy action is so much better than waiting and taking no action, obviously. But I think that's a concept not everyone can really get at first. You can not learn. Oh my gosh, that didn't make sense. You can't learn without doing. Like that's just the thing. And I can tell, and even with content too, where both of us help people with content, I could sit here on a Zoom call with you and tell you exactly what to do, exactly what to make, what I think will work. It's still not going to work until you go and do it. And especially with social media, it's such a, no one has the secret code. It's really about doing and practicing and just getting better and better each day. So I love that mindset. I want to talk about one of your TikToks that I duetted, but when I stitched it, your money mindset is I think it's one of my favorite things that attracted me to you initially, because not many people talk about money so candidly. I think it's getting better now, but it's not a super common thing in the real world. And especially with women too. I don't know. There's all these things about it. So I just love that you are unapologetically have this amazing money mindset and abundance mindset, and that you just wish it upon everyone else as well. And I know your TikTok went super viral, and I didn't read a ton of the comments because I just saw it immediately. It was like, this is amazing. I agree. Posted content. For those that are not listening, the premise of, not listening, oh my God. For those who have not seen the TikTok, the premise was basically, what was it? $10,000 a month is not that much money.
Yeah.
We need to think bigger. There's people out there doing a lot. And it was really just about having more abundant mindset and not putting yourself in this box. And how did you feel when that video started going viral? Because I know there's probably negative comments too.
Oh my God. At first, it was mostly negative comments. So this is a funny story. It was right after Christmas. Right after Christmas, I have all my TikTok content batched. So when I was traveling for the holidays in New York, we went from Costa Rica to New York to Colorado to be with my family. So we're in Colorado, and I just randomly, Kelsie, was like, this video, slap it up. It wasn't a part of my strategy. It was just a bunch of pieces that batch, and I post every day. I have to put in the social media reps. And I had no idea that this would go viral. And I had duet and stitch turned on. Sometimes I turn it off depending if I don't feel like dealing with hate on the internet, but this one I had it turned on. And I'm out to dinner with my family, and this is now looking back on it, I'm very happy that went viral, but very real in the moment. this is why like mental health and working on your mindset and emotional intelligence is so important in social media, because I'm out to dinner and I'm basically getting like death threats on a TikTok post. And I go to the bathroom and I'm like, what is going on? And obviously the brain doesn't know like what's the difference between real or not real. And I immediately feel myself just like, my nervous system is getting crazy. That same thing, red in the face, just like really uncomfortable. And I had to talk with myself for a while, but I remember like going back to that dinner table, and as much as I prayed and got in my mindset and like tried like move my body around the bathroom, like I'm doing everything as much as I could to like reset, it still affected me. And that's something to this day that it was a very good lesson. I'm very, very grateful that all that hate came up with that post, because okay, it's like there's even more work to do if I want to be going massively viral and sharing even bigger things. Like I have a post drafted saying 100K months aren't a lot of money as like a parody to that one that I want to put out.
Yes.
I think it might be time after this TikTok, but after this podcast with you, but I have to be mentally prepared for that and have systems in place so that I'm not consuming all of the hate. But, you know, looking back on it, it was I'm so glad I posted it, and it really allowed me to draw a line in the sand and be like, no, this is what I believe. 10K months aren't a lot of money. A lot of people are kidding themselves when they think that 10K months are, and obviously there's different factors and not everyone has access to that, of course, but in the grand scheme of things, I want people to understand they can make a lot more money than they think they can, and they've been programmed to believe that 10K months is like the thing that the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I totally get you. Well, first of all, the hate, the viralness, you know, it is inevitable at some point. Like, you knew it had to happen to kind of have a platform on social media and use it in any way that's actually like helping people or reaching people or affecting people in a way. You are going to have to deal with that. I've had a few myself for sure. And it is, no matter how strong mentally you think you are, it can obviously it's a crazy thing. Your brain is not meant to have thousands of people commenting awful things about you. That is not something that human beings are meant to encounter. But it's a toss-up of when we have these platforms and we can do so much good with it and we can share so much good things, we can build those businesses and help people, that small con is obviously worth it. So it's cool that you can go through that and know how to deal with it. And now for next time, I like how you're already prepared, where you're like, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to prepare myself in advance. We're ready to go. That's awesome. And two, I think, of course, the negative comments are there, but those aren't the people that you're trying to talk to. Like, you're trying to reach the people that have those open minds as well, like your ideal community or audience member or customer. Like you, when you said you drew that line in the sand, I think that is super brave of you, because now you can fully be yourself on social media and be like, yeah, that's what I believe. And if you don't believe it, then you don't have to be here. But if you do believe it, welcome to my community. That's what we talk about. That's what we're for. Yeah. That's what we're going to do. So I think that's a super cool thing. And I want to ask you too about just like this abundance mindset. Did you have that? Because I know you always said your big goal was to make $5,000. That was in your head, like an amazing thing. So where did that really like abundance come from? Was it when you started your business and saw the potential?
I have a picture of it, but my vision board just said, be your own boss, 5K months. Like, Kelsie, I thought $5,000 a month was it. I was like, 5K, for life, I am golden. And that was in 2020, and it's only March of 2023, which just blows my mind. Like, I went from thinking 5K a month was a big deal to 5K days in this amount of time. And it's not like I grew up on money. Like, I grew up in like a very kind of like redneck style home with like pit bulls, and we didn't have a dishwasher, and we didn't have maids. Like, everything was like, we weren't struggling, but we were like the weird ones in the community. My dad was always like bulldozing things in the backyard, and we were always screaming at each other, and it was like a mixed family of like yours, mine, and ours. And so like, I didn't grow up with money, but I did grow up with, you work hard and you make it happen. Like, you have to follow through on what you say you're going to do. That work ethic was instilled in me, but not money. And For me, when I look at earning more money and having an abundant mindset, it's not about how can I make more money this month? It's how can I defy more odds in society? I have a very big obsession with not being like society, wanting to get out of a box, wanting to defy all odds, wanting to provide so much value to my customers and community that their lives are changed for forever. And so when I say like, oh, here's my next money goal, if you don't have that mindset that I do, you're going to only see me and think, oh, she only talks about money. But to me, money is the end result of inner work, of resiliency, of overcoming so much crap, of basically becoming the best person that I can. That's why I always on my profiles, I'm like, you want to make more money? Go fall in love with yourself first. Then the money will come.
Yes, everyone needs to go and listen to that again, because that is the key. I think that's where a lot of people have a disconnect maybe with money is, oh, that's greedy, it's just a number, like that's not going to fulfill you, which is true to an extent. But if you think of money as more this flowing thing where money is your freedom, money is like what you were saying, where you can defy society, like it's these really cool things. And it doesn't just come from, oh, I'm going to make $10,000 and then you go make $10,000. It's the self-work you need to do. It's how are you going to help people? How are you going to, like it's bigger than that, where you're like, okay, I made $100,000. It's more, oh, look at the people that I helped, or look at the growth that I've had, or now how I'm able to inspire other people. Yeah. I think you have to have these other things attached to it, because they are attached. They do go hand in hand. The same with entrepreneurship and mindset, where everyone's like, yeah, well, like, no, it's huge. Like you do it, they're so intertwined. It's not just, oh, I made this much money or whatever. There is all these other factors that are in it. So I think you described that very beautifully, which I appreciate.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. So what is what are you working on now? Where have you felt like from when you started your business versus now, I guess? How has it changed? How has it evolved? And where do you see it going, I guess?
When I first started, I was working with people one-to-one, and then I would do these 5 a.m. workshops it's called Move and Manifest workshops, and they were like dance embodiment workshops for entrepreneurs. And then I had private clients. And I really scaled that. I scaled a lot of private clients. And I remember I was at a dance residency in Italy in 2021. And I had 12 one-to-one clients. And that sounds great. It was like a $22,000 launch, but I was like, 12 one-to-one clients in a week while I'm traveling throughout Europe wanting to live my life, this is not going to work. So I immediately pivoted to one-to-many programs, and since then I've built everyone says scalable product suite, but basically that means I can take on a lot of clients, high-ticket programs without it taking up a lot more of my time, and it brings in recurring income. So that's what I've built to this day, which if you do anything, I highly suggest you build all recurring income streams, like recurring, continuity, subscription, membership, build out all of your programs so they're like that. So something that I'm working on doing is right now we have all of our programs up and running, bringing in more people. I have a $97 a month membership with 500 people in it, not at $97 because I've scaled the price point over time, but I want to bring more people into that because it's a program it's affordable for most people. It teaches you how to sign on clients. And I would love to just have that program be just booming. I don't know if you know, inside of my community, I love the women inside of the Freedom Queen movement. Like we just have so much fun together, and I really want to expand that. And then other things this year, we're doing what I want to start doing is on the ground events, but events that I'm not at. So over the last year, I hosted 3 international retreats, but I would love to be able to reach more people in person. And so creating these Freedom Queen on the ground events where they can go and meet with each other once a month or every other month or once every 6 months, but I'm not there, but it's still a part of the brand. So that's something I'm working on. I'm working on building that right now.
So inspiring. I think I got lost in this for sure. Where I started my business because, similar to you, I wanted to make a few $1,000s a month, have freedom, be able to travel, live my life. And then there comes a point where you realize that you're working so hard and so often, and you're like, wait a second, this wasn't really what and you're gonna have to do that for sure. Business takes work. You're gonna have to go through a point where you're doing that. But I totally got lost in the hustle, the grind of you need to like build, I need to be working all the time. And then I was like, this isn't very strategic for the actual life that I want to live, you know? So I love that became a priority for you, where you were like, how can I scale this, but in a way where you can buy back some of your time and enjoy what you're doing and create this life and have room to inspire people and be yourself.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm currently working on, so I love to hear it. That's amazing. I'm definitely going to link all of your links in the show notes for everybody, so everyone can go check it out. I think that a lot of my audience would just benefit a lot from your community, from what I see. Women entrepreneurs, you know, if you're listening, this is really cool. And I love the in-person to me, it's like my not new, but I'm definitely obsessed with in the last year, because similar to you, I started my business in COVID, and it was all Zoom, whatever, virtual events and everything, which are so awesome, and it's so nice to be able to connect with people from all over the world. Yeah. But whenever I get invited to something in person, I'm like, yes, getting on a plane, I'm going. Like, seeing people in real life is just unmatched.
Yeah. I can't wait to meet in person, like literally in a couple weeks.
I know.
In Canada.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I know, I'm so pumped that you're coming here. It's going to be so fun. We'll do some content. Everybody,
yay.
Look out for some collaborations.
Yay.
I love it. Well, any last pieces of advice or anything you want to leave the listeners with?
Ooh, okay. I always just go back to, like, again, you won't know what you can do until you're doing it. And so you can sit and you can wonder, how do I build the business? How is Kelsie doing it? How is she making it happen? How? Or you can just move and you can take action and figure it out along the way. And I know that that's how I built my business, and I'm sure that's how you've built yours. People think there's some secret that we have or someone else has. There's no secret. It's just that you have moved so much and taken action every day, no matter what, to get to where you are. So, yeah.
Yes, perfectly said. So true. I preach pretty much the same thing, that people just need to stop getting in your own way. Yeah. You guys got this. This is all the permission that you needed. Make mistakes. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. You're going to learn. It's going to be good. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom and story. And I'm so excited to see what's next for you.
Yay. Thank you, Kelsie.